Oh, my God, the rally is on. Quick, guys, let's quit our jobs. Let's day trade. Nobody's ever lost day trading. Up 468 points. Belk, you should go check your 401k.
I made that mistake yesterday. I think I'll wait a while.
Oh, my Lord. The excitement. God, it's Tariff-a-palooza. Got the Chinese. They brought us bat soup that killed everybody. Here they are again. I'm excited. Look, you guys listen to me. I'm not a fan of tariffs. I'm a free trade guy. China's a different story. This has zero to do with trade. This has zero to do with bringing manufacturing back. It's going to make the world a better place. Zero to do with any of that. This is global dominance. This is it. This is us going, you know what? No. You've screwed everybody. You've played this game. Everybody, we all thought that you were going to eventually come out of your insanity of being the big red scare. Part 2. And no, I have zero problem with tariffs on China because that is a battle that has more to do geopolitically and militarily, national defense, and where the globe is going to go. Authoritarianism, the spread of their communism with Belt and Road and the BRICS. And I understand that some of the stuff that we're putting on people, in particular countries, is because we're going to force countries to go, you're with us or you're with them. You want to be with us? It's free trade, right? It's freedom. We'll let you pet one of the dire wolves, maybe. Got to be nice. It's that. With China, it has always been them running the show, them getting past everybody because everybody gives in, lets them play the game because they're getting free money from them, or China. They don't want to. It's too big of a market in their mind to let go. So now you got to decide, what do you want to do? Look, if I'm a business owner, am I worried? Yeah, a little bit, right? Especially if you've got stuff that comes from China, if you've got things that are manufactured there, even though you may put them together here, those kind of, yes, of course. And if you are somebody who you're not quite sure what the hell to do with the tariffs, you're not, because you haven't felt it yet, you don't really understand it, but you're going to, sooner rather than later, a little bit, not on everything. But yeah, you're going to see some jumps in prices. They're going to make a whoo. I mean, just the other day, Bell got a tow, which is still the funniest thing. Bell got towed 8 feet.
8 feet.
What did the guy say?
I asked him why the price had gone up from 150 to 165, and he goes, tariffs.
It's awesome.
That's what I'd say. Yeah. Tariffs.
And you're like, what? Tariffs? You had a tow truck already. Did Chinese with you?
Tires are Chinese.
I would have found it more believable if he went, well, gas is going up again.
Yeah, the Chinese tires are Chinese. But this is about, you know what? You lie about everything. You cheat in every way, shape, or form. You are nonstop spying, trying to spy. You are all of the things, and we've had enough of it. The thought was many moons ago that you guys realize we can't be closed off to the world. We can't be the Soviet Union. It's going to fall apart. We're going to have to figure out how we allow some of this stuff in there. And now that you've built up a military that is ready to roll, and you're trying to build it up stronger, and you've done it in the way that, well, cheating and lying and stealing and taking our stuff that we come up with, repurposing it, rebranding it, selling it, and it's frustrating. So I understand that. The other stuff, But this is Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful, talking about China.
104% tariffs on China are not enough. I'm advocating 400%. I do business in China. They don't play by the rules. They've been in the WTO for decades. They have never abided by any of the rules they agreed to when they came in for decades. They cheat, they steal IP. I can't litigate in their courts. They take product, technology, They steal it, they manufacture it, and sell it back here. Never has an administration.
400% tariffs? What would that look like?
Xi on an airplane to Washington to level the playing field.
Xi's not going to. He's not. Not anytime soon. He's just not. And the IP, the intellectual property. So my buddy Joe, great guy, he has a few factories over there. And they manufactured a lot of stuff. And this was pre-COVID. I remember we used to talk about this all the time. He was the one who told me in like October of that year when COVID, finally arrived on the shores a few months later. He's like, dude, it's weird. Because he was in Wuhan. Wuhan's like Chicago. And he's like, there's nobody on the streets. There's nobody here. It's weird. But he would tell me for years, he goes, yeah, you literally go in there and you show them, okay, here's my plans. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to manufacture. He goes, they'll go into another room and photocop everything, come back, hand it, and next thing you know, across the street, that hat or whatever it is that you come up with, they're making it and selling it. And there's nothing you can do if you want to do business over there. They're going to steal your stuff, and they're going to make it cheaper and sell it, not just here, but globally, as many places as possible. But if you want cheaper labor, because, like I said, if I was going to produce some of this stuff here, it'd just be unaffordable for a vast majority of people, which is frustrating. But this has a lot more to do with the bigger picture. China, whether it's the World Health Organization or what they're doing in Africa and many other places, they throw money around. Like USA is a perfect example. We put stipulations on stuff. It's like, hey, we're going to give you $500 million, but you can't hang gay people from the flagpoles. And maybe you should learn stuff about them instead of doing that. And they're like, yeah, okay, whatever. China's like, we don't care what you do. Here's $1 million. But we may come back in a few years and ask you for something like the mob.
It's just not about tariffs anymore. Nobody has taken on China yet, not the Europeans, no administration for decades. As someone who actually does business there, I've had enough. I speak for millions of Americans who have IP that have been stolen by the Chinese. I have nothing against the Chinese people. They brought great literacy, art, and tech to the world. The government cheats and steals, and finally, an administration, you may not like Trump, you may not like his style or his rhetoric, finally, an administration that says enough. 400% tariffs tomorrow morning.
Which isn't going to happen, but we'll see, because they're going to, now it's the battle, reciprocal. You do this, we're going to do this. You do this, we're going to do this. Europe is going to do it as well, but hey, Europe, this isn't about whether or not we sell crap to you or not, or whether or not there's tariffs on some of our stuff or not. This is about, what side are you going to be on? Do you want freedom? Do you want to be able to sell into a marketplace? If we were to say, screw it, we're never trading with China again, we're pulling everything back, we would try to onshore some stuff, but mostly we would defer a lot of it to India, Mexico, Honduras, places like that, and go from there. And in doing that, we would definitely suffer, and it would be nasty at first, probably global recession. But on the other end, we'd come out way better than China. China can't afford it. And here's the one thing that we have that they don't have. Because they have central planning. So I don't know, I think it was Colin Rugg or Jack Posobiec posted a video of this new giant bridge they just built in China that took like an hour to build, where California would take 12 years to plan for it. That's central planning when you run everything in authoritarian. Just get it done, right? That's the one thing they'd have a little bit of an advantage of in some areas. But what they don't have is freedom. And why that matters is you can take away people's, freedom if you give them something to work for. You have money. They have some mobility. They feel like they have a portion of their life. You may take away some of that freedom in their mind, but, they're too busy working for their 2-bedroom, 3-bath home trying to get ahead. So that struggle would all of a sudden, wait a minute, you took away our money, you took away our mobility, and now you're taking away our freedoms. Something's got to give. And they already have a huge problem in China with male youth unemployment in particular. Could you imagine if we just pulled the plug, again, we'd go into recession. But at some point, they're going to look around and go, wait a minute here. Every young man and a lot of young women have nothing going on. And as we all know, the kids we see out at protests that cause the big ruckus, a lot of times they don't have a lot going on. And you want to have stuff going on. So this will be interesting to see what happens. 400%. I don't know if Trump's ready for that. I know he's excited about taking this battle on, and I'm good with that. Go ahead. Take the battle on. Let's see what it looks like. But you also have to understand what may be coming. And what may be coming is the fact that a lot of people out there, rightly so, if you're a little bit older, you're nervous about certain things. If you have a business, you're nervous about certain things. And if you're a consumer and you live close to the edge, you're nervous about some stuff. And I think some people are willing to ride it out, but that does come a point where you have to politically say, all right, we're going to do this and understand that this is going to be hell. Hell. Or we may have to pull some of these things back because otherwise we may lose the House and the Senate. And that's where politics comes in. And politics is you can't ignore politics when you're a politician.
Right now, China's paying a 104% tariff. Think of it, 104%. Now, it sounds ridiculous, but they charged us for many items 100%, 125%. Many countries have. They've ripped us off left and right. But now it's our turn to do the ripping.
It is. And we'll find out what that looks like. Because this isn't going to be just about the two of us. Now it's like we're going to start to see who's with us and who's not. Some want to remain as neutral as possible. Okay. But there's a lot of other ones out there who are going to be forced to go, oh, we don't want to give up China, but we can't give up America. I mean, we don't want to lose having the opportunity to be and work within China and do certain things, but we cannot lose America. And we'll see if these things force their hands. We shall see. We shall see. A lot of stuff to get to today. We got some immigration stuff. Got some AI stuff. Shopify is doing something with AI that is very fascinating, if you know what Shopify is. And their CEO has put it out there, and a lot of other CEOs go, hey, that's really cool. I mean, we should be thinking about that. Talk about that, a bunch of other stuff. Reach out to us across all of our social media. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Same thing with, we are on Twitter. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitch. We're on YouTube, but we're not on Rumble yet.
Yet?
Not yet, but yet. And it will happen. It is Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7. Rough Greens, ruffgreens.com, vitamins, minerals, probiotics, omega-3, 6, 9, all of this awesome stuff packed into an amazing supplement you give your dog on a daily basis, just one scoop a day. Now, you can get a Jumpstart trial bag for free. It's not going to cost you anything but shipping. That's a few bucks. And again, one scoop a day. That's it. And take the 90-day challenge with Rough Greens. This is what you're going to get with your dog. First 30 days, shinier coat, right? So that's awesome. And you're also going to see more energy. You're going to see within 60 days, your immune system's going to improve. The energy levels are up. The coat is fuller. It's awesome. And by day 90, it's like a whole new pup, as I like to say. Immune system, heart health, digestive tract, all improve. Coat, shiny, not shedding. It's just amazing. Try a Jumpstart trial bag of Rough Greens now. Take the 90-day challenge with them. If you love your dogs like I love my dogs, you try this. It's one scoop a day, and you watch what happens. ruffgreens.com. Use my code Chad. Get a $20 value pack bag absolutely free. It's Jumpstart trial bag. You just cover the cost of shipping. Ruffgreens.com. Use code Chad. Wellness of Institute of Nashville. If your back hurts, don't let it hurt anymore right now. In honor of the 47th president, the big 47 going on at Wellness Institute. Get over there and see them, Dr. Mitchell, Dr. Ashley. So non-surgical spinal decompression, let me tell you how it works. First, decompression machines they have are amazing. You get in there, you're like, this place is state-of-the-art. And they build you out a plan. First, when you get there, they're going to make sure that you go through and have a full consultation. They want to check out what's going on with your back. They want to get x-rays. If you got an MRI, bring it. Then they build out what's right for you, and then away they go. And their technology is so advanced, it's unlike anything you've ever seen. And they help you get there in a way that matters. It's about opening up the disc so that blood and nutrients can get to the area, heal the spinal disc and nerve. It's incredible. If your back hurts, don't let it hurt anymore. Get over to the Wellness Institute of Nashville. Tell them I sent you. Call 615-246-5009. 615-246-5009 or go to painisbad.com.
Open carry for long guns like rifles and shotguns. Shot down. Details at 12:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
How much could these tariffs cost Americans?
The annual tariff cost per household, they estimated between $1,600 and $2,000. That's about 2% of the median household income. I mean, my God, if you're going paycheck to paycheck, as we talk about 25 to 30% of households do live paycheck to paycheck, that is a huge jump.
That is a big jump. I mean, if you're living closer to the edge, there's no doubt that is a jump. Every little thing helps. You want to make sure you got every little thing handled. I don't think these things can go on forever, but I think the thing with China is definitely has a chance of going on forever. Now, Trump is Trump. They could get together and, he could handle it. We're going to get a deal done and get a deal done. But I don't know what there's far more to it than just I've decided not to put these things on. And you've already started. You've pushed away from the gate, right? The doors are locked. You've gone down the runway. You've taken off. So it's now or never, I think. And if you were in your first term, you're probably doing nothing like this. Trump doesn't have to worry. But the politics of this, you'd be lying if you didn't think that this was going to be an issue. Especially with the EU. I'm more concerned what happens there with the EU and how that plays out than China at this moment in time. And like I said, cheap goods, we like cheap goods. Everybody thinks, too, cheap goods are, you go out, everything falls apart. They don't. And there's so many goods that we don't need to produce. It's not worth our time. It's not worth our money, right? If you want to make socks, great, go ahead and make socks. But in mass, it's just easier for other countries to do it. And there's other countries we have a better relationship with that are friendlier to us, who align more with our views, and some who don't perfectly align with our views, but they sure in the hell don't align with China's views.
And where do we see those costs really hitting? Well, I'll give you a few different examples, all right? Computers, up 11% potentially. How about natural gas? Up 5% potentially. How about white rice? Up 4% potentially. And so we just see it throughout different parts of the economy, the American consumer getting hit potentially by these Trump tariffs on top of the inflation we've already seen. It is no wonder why my opening slide said the American consumer is fed up. They have just been hit over and over again over the last 5 years. And truthfully, there's not much of an end in sight, especially with these tariffs potentially on the way.
Did he just authorize a pause? Is that what I'm seeing?
Trump? That's what I'm seeing. Breaking news. Trump authorizes a 90-day pause after raising the tariffs on China by 125%.
So was that a pause on China or the rest of the world or everybody?
I'm not sure. Says Trump, raising tariffs on China to 125%, then Trump authorizing 90-day pause. I'm checking his Truth Social right now. I'm logging in.
Yeah, fool me once. If this is what you're really going to do and you're going to play this game, you got the chance. I can't believe he would do it with China after authorizing 125%.
Here it is. Here's Trump 8 minutes ago. Based on the lack of respect that China has shown to the world's markets, I am hereby raising the tariff charge to China by the United States of America to 125% effective immediately. At some point, hopefully in the near future, China will realize that the days of ripping off the USA and other countries is no longer sustainable or acceptable. Conversely, and based on the fact that more than 75 countries have called representatives of the United States, including the Departments of Commerce, Treasury, and the USTR, to negotiate a solution to the subjects being discussed relative to trade, I have authorized a 90-day pause.
So he's pausing everybody but China.
But China.
China, and now it's up 2,500 points.
Well, the Dow crossed 40,000 again.
Dude, and this is what you were saying yesterday. This isn't about everybody else.
No.
This is about China.
It is.
They're not our friend.
They're not.
We're not friends.
No. You know what they want? They want all of our money and none of our respect, none of our values, none of the ways that we live. They want our stuff, and then they want to dominate everybody.
And they're ticked off that they can't go into Taiwan without repercussion.
Yeah. Oh, so mad about that. So mad about that. But it is China. And when you hear them talking about the EU and all these kind of things, like even Singapore yesterday, Singapore has no tariffs on us. And he's like, why are they putting it? We're friends. We're a big trading partner. Why are you putting stuff on us? It's not. It's about the fact that are you with us or are you with them?
Yeah.
Vietnam, we understand they're probably going to be more with them, but we're a big trading partner. Well, it's one of the things, though. Vietnam said, hey, you know what? Maybe we'll buy a bunch of stuff from you guys for military. So some of it's about them buying crap from us, but a lot of it is you need to choose a side. Do you want freedom, fun, right? Beautiful women, eagles, dire wolves, or do you want none of that? Well, you're making a decision. We shall see. We shall see. But China's still there, 125.
125%. Those are going to be some expensive socks, baby.
Those are now going to be $4 for 9 instead of a nickel. Still doing it. Coming up, the left has lost their mind. We know that. There's a new poll out, though, that says, are you guys ready for this? Assassination culture. I'm not kidding you.
Wow.
That's a new thing. We're going to talk about that straight ahead. Chad Benson, Super Talk, 99.7.
12:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast in 5 minutes. And yes, President Trump is pausing for 90 days. Tariffs on everyone but China. He's slapping a 125% tariff on China effective immediately. But he says in a post on Truth Social that since everybody else did not reciprocate, he's going to pause it for 90 days and lower any U.S. tariff on everybody else to 10% effective immediately. So the pause goes into effect immediately for 90 days. After that, tariffs on everyone but China could go up 10%. But for right now, starting immediately, everything from China is 125% more expensive. A bill to allow open carry permits for long guns like shotguns and rifles is essentially dead for the year. 3 Republicans siding with Democrats to vote it down in the State Senate Judiciary Committee yesterday for some of the same reasons top law enforcement officials and others testified about during a hearing in the House last month. News Channel 5 says Elizabeth Stroker, the Tennessee Department of Safety's legislative director, telling lawmakers at that hearing last month, people will be frightened seeing long guns outside of places like churches and in stores.
And law enforcement's response will have to be, they are lawfully doing that. They have to stay there.
Now, the House version of this bill is up for a hearing as soon as today, but the defeat in the Senate has likely doomed it this year. And another record for LeBron James. The basketball great has now become the first professional athlete who's male to have his likeness depicted in a Ken doll.
When he became the first NBA player to surpass 50,000 points, LeBron James said it was something he thought about growing up.
I was hoping that someday I'd be able to play at the highest level, and I've been able to do that and really enjoy it.
Did he ever think he'd be a Ken doll, wearing sunglasses, headphones, and a blue and white jacket adorned with LJ on the front? Oh, no, but he does say he was lucky to have role models growing up who showed him what's possible through hard work and dedication. The LeBron James Ken doll goes on sale Monday.
So once again, Trump putting 125% tariff on China, but pausing a 10% tariff for everyone else for 90 days. And the Dow has just shot up nearly 6%. It's up 2,153 points in just the past 5 minutes. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Busy bee. You get busy. Join the Beehive Club. Call 775-7833. Whether you've got issues with your HVAC, and as we head into springtime, it's going to start getting a little bit warmer. Obviously, we're going to have a little bit more precipitation here and there. The last thing you want is your HVAC not keeping up. And Busy Bee's got you covered for that. Come out, take a look at, just a couple trips out there, right, to get that free inspection. Takes care of that. Busy Bee Beehive Club. What about your, plumbing? Because, man, I tell you what, I was talking about this the other night. We're talking about all the electricity going out. You can go a day without electricity. Yeah, about that second time that you had to head down to the gas station to take care of business, you're like, I got to get this fixed. Don't let that happen to you. Busy Bee's got you covered, no matter what it is. HVAC or plumbing, they've got you covered across the board. Tons of specials, and join the famous Beehive Club now. Call 775-7833. That's 775-7833. Or visit busyvhvac.com. So, if you're just hearing the news, breaking news, the pause is on. 90-day pause. Currently, the Dow's up 2,500-ish.
Yeah.
And
we're back up over 40.
So this pause will be for 90 days on pretty much everything but China.
Yeah.
Because China, this is the battle that is. And that's what we're saying. This is it. We don't want to punish you guys, but you guys want to work with us, right? Like, we're better. Our stuff's cooler. Let's all be friends. Let's all do this together, okay? You can be with them or you can be with us. You can't be with both. You can't serve two masters, is what we're saying. This was an interesting story and scary about the new culture. And it's a new poll out done by Rutgers and NCRI. And what it's about is about assassination culture, which I was unaware there was a culture of assassination until Luigi Mangione. And if you don't think that, well, kids, take a listen to this, because people have now started to meme and started to talk about all kinds of crazy things like this.
Elon Musk, like, we need to X him. And by X, I mean formerly known as Assassination.
This is for the person out there who's planning on doing it. You know, the thing that we all wake up every day hoping we'll see in the news. And we're like, man, no one's done it yet. Keep going. Your plan, it's gonna work. If not, it'll inspire the next person. And we are all rooting for you. You have our support. You have our admiration. We might make a national holiday out of you. And I will definitely put money on your books. And if you're into this sort of thing, I'll write you some letters of the naughty sort, should you find yourself behind bars for it. But we're all rooting for you and hoping that you do it quickly and get away with it. Power to the people.
Look at me right here. We all know it needs to be done, right? If I do it, are y'all going to convict me? Because somebody got to do it.
So can someone just do it? Can someone just do it? Just do it.
Every day that I wake up, I just hope someone takes one for the team. Just go out in a blaze of glory. We will always keep money on your book. We will write you letters every day. We'll put your face on prayer candles.
What? What the hell's a prick?
That's worth life imprisonment.
Yeah, no doubt. So the new study, which should scare a lot of people, comes out, and they did this study after Luigi Mangione, which has pushed this new, quote-unquote, meme assassination culture that is going on. Joel Finkelstein, who is the lead author of the report, told Fox News what was formerly taboo culturally has become acceptable. We're seeing a clear shift of glorification, increased attempts, and changing norms, all converging into what we're defining as assassination culture. And yeah, a lot of it happened after Mangione and the killing of Brian Thompson. And it is crazy. He says it's not just Luigi anymore. We're seeing an expansion, especially of Trump and Musk and others, now being openly discussed as legitimate targets, often cloaked in meme culture and gamification online dialogue. And it is that where we are? I'm like, we can't be there. But yes, it is. That is where we are. I mean, you see it. You see the insanity. So check this out. When they went through it, some 38% of respondents said it would be at least somewhat justified to murder Donald Trump, 31% Elon Musk. Now, that's everybody as a whole. But this is where it gets scary. When speaking to the left only, so imagine you got 100 people in a room. 55 of them say it would be absolutely acceptable to kill Trump, and 48% Elon Musk. Again, insane. And these are not isolated opinions. They're a party of tightly connected belief systems linked to what they call left-wing authoritarianism, which is growing all the time. And it had the same thing to do with the property destruction. They asked them about property destruction. And 4 in 10 said it was okay to a degree. But when you got to the left-leaning only, it was massive. And then you start breaking down the left-leaning only compared to right, compared to independent. And there were some rights who think it's justified for violence. Now, here's where it gets really weird. So you guys remember Blue Sky? Right, Blue Sky was going to be this, it's a safer place, Chad, okay? We can go there, we could talk about puppy dogs, right? And we could have a pride flag and nobody gets mad. You guys, it's not. It's not that. In fact, Blue Sky is become an echo chamber of violence and hate. It was modeled the alternative in the safe space for the left. They said it's become much like 4chan and Gab once for far-right ideologies. These platforms are now lead indicators of violent real-world trends. Blue sky.
I had also read somewhere, and I'm not 100% sure this is true, but it sounds plausible that there was a lot of pedophile activity going on that platform.
I would, you know what? I joined because, I told you guys I was going to join. I was going to just restream the Alex Jones podcast all day. That's all I was going to do. It's just going to put Alex Jones on there until they eventually ban me.
Chad, why are you trying to make people's head explode?
Well, and then, because I want to catch about gay frogs. And I never did anything after that. I joined it and that was it. It is. Nobody does, by the way. That's not good. We don't want those kind of gay frogs around here. I know you think we are. What kind of pride flag is that? But some of the stuff that you heard, so some of that stuff we just played, which is crazy. If you think, well, that's not a big deal, it is a big deal because it only takes one person, as we know, for something to happen. Imagine what would have happened on that day if Trump had not, and thankfully, because of illegal immigration, kind of saved his life. We forget about that because he had turned his head to look at the thing. But could you imagine what would have happened if he was killed? Or if some loony pops off and kills Elon Musk? What that does? And it only takes one person. And some of these insane things that, like we just played, have millions of views and hundreds of thousands of likes and shares. So it's not some weirdo in the basement that is all by themselves with no views and none of that stuff. It is much worse than that. And this is the interesting thing. When they talked to the guy who's the lead author of Finkelstein, he says the psychological roots of assassination culture are a mix of ideological radicalism and the feeling of powerlessness, particularly in the loss of an election. Says when people feel like they have no say, no future, no leadership offering vision, they become susceptible to radical ideation. And that's when the memes turn into permission structures for real violence. And when I was out at the, what was it called? The Tesla, that first Tesla thing I went to. I've only been to one, where I got out and interviewed people. The one thing I noticed, and I've told Matt this, and I told Chris this, and I've told you guys this, the feeling of helplessness that people have because things are moving so fast. And each one of them have something different, right? The older generation is worried about Social Security going away. The older generation is worried about, stuff that maybe, a 22-year-old's not really worried about. And the 22-year-old's worried about something, they're worried about somebody coming and stealing their pronouns and not letting them identify as a butterfly or whatever it is they were trying to identify as. They have different kind of worries, but it's powerlessness. They feel powerless. They've got nothing going on. They can't stop it. There's no election tomorrow. They feel like it's ways and ways and ways and ways away from there. They're frustrated, and it's that powerlessness. And the right felt it too. Let's be real. After the last election, the fighting, I still get, people sending me stuff all the time. It was stolen. It was like, well, that's long gone. We've moved well past that. You got to move forward. But there was that sense of power. You can't do anything. But the way that they've reacted, and I do fear more violence, and I do fear more horrible situations where somebody does something stupid because the emotions run so high nowadays. I was telling people, I get, Bell back me up. I get text messages from you guys. Most of them are like, the ones who don't like me, you're horrible, you're not a patriot, whatever, the usual crap. I get a lot of that, whatever. I expect that's the business. Like yesterday, here's a perfect example of the world of the minute the internet is available, people are like, okay, let me say the dumbest thing I've ever said, or let me say something mean for the sake of it. I was watching a golf thing with Kyle Berkshire. He's the world long drive champion. And he hits a drive like 420 yards. And he's playing in the tournament, and every comment is how much he sucks. It's like, dude's the best in the world at what he does. He's a crappy golfer. He's not. He would smoke you in golf. He would smoke you. I'm a good golfer, and he would smoke me. But somebody had to criticize. And it's the same thing. I get a lot of from you guys. But here's what I get that's different from the left. The left sends me stuff like, F you, you need to die, you Nazi pig. I hate you. That stuff. You guys who get mad at me, and some of you get mad at me because you don't like a subject or whatever, the way I take it, you'll say, I can't listen to you, I don't like you, whatever. But rarely, if ever, is it you are a POS and you need to die. Where I get that from the left. If I get 10 critical things from each side, one on the right might say something ridiculous. 8 of 10 will say something horrific and horrible to me. And we've even played some of that stuff. You weren't here. Remember that, Ken, that caller I played that was so insane?
Yes.
Yes.
Where was I? On vacation?
You were on vacation. You'd quit for the week. And so we had Malinoff. 740 FICO score, boys. But then Bell came back. He's like 803. Whatever. Dropped the mic. 801. Sorry, it went down.
That's right. He dropped. But you could hear the spit flying out of this guy's mouth.
Yeah. I mean, it's nuts. I get it from both sides, and I'm fine with that. But the left will send me the most vile stuff. And I don't care what you say about me, but, you know, as long as it's not death threats. And if you need to tell me I'm a horrible person that makes you feel better, I don't have a problem with that. But I do notice, especially over the last several years, the left's emotions have gotten so horrific, and their anger and vitriol is things that I never thought, you know. And I've got some friends who are lefties, and they will get that way. So we don't talk politics. And they'll say it, man, I can't talk because I get very emotional. It's crazy. It's crazy indeed. A lot of stuff still to get to today. If you guys haven't heard, Donald Trump looked at the Chinese and said, 125%. And he said, the rest of the world, guess what? I'm going to take some of those things off. Let's not worry about that. Let's go break some bread. Let's screw the Chinese people.
Well, and that's what I was telling Brother Bilal, you know, off mic, is he has essentially isolated China.
Yeah.
He has isolated them. And basically kind of what the Treasury Secretary is saying right now, the reason 75 countries have called the White House to negotiate is because they don't want to deal with China.
No, they don't. Because here's the thing with China. Everybody recognized, like Africa, the Belt and Road, a lot of poor nations are willing to take China's money because we put stipulations on them in ways that they're never going to come to 90% of the stuff we ask them to do. China hands them money, but they know they're now indentured servants at some point in time to China.
Yeah. It's like doing a favor for the mob.
It's exactly what it is, right? Like you may have gotten 10 grand, but you also said anytime. Well, anytime may come 6 months, 2 years, 5 years from now, and it may be something so ridiculous that you're going to regret taking those dollars. Ooh, we got more to talk about today. If you're missing any of the show, we say, I'm pointing. Birch Gold. Why gold? Because of the chaos going on in the world. Safe haven currencies, you know, the fiat currencies, they head to things like gold, right? You just can't trust a lot of this stuff that's going on out there. When you look out there and you see, you know, oh, it's up one day, down, people are afraid because global implications of tariffs and everything else. You want to protect what you have. It's about diversification, and gold is key. Text the word Benson to 989898 today. My buddies over at Birch, who I buy my gold from, they're going to get you out a info kit, let you take a look at what it is that they do. And they're absolutely incredible, right? AAA rated by the Better Business Bureau. They're going to treat you like family. As I always tell everybody, they treat me so amazing. Even before I was, endorsing them, I was a client because I recognize diversification is key. So text the word Benson now to 989898 for Birch Gold. Find out what they can do for you. They'll get you out an info kit, and they're going to show you why diversification is key, and gold is the answer in so many ways to protect what you're building up. Text the word Benson to 989898 now.
All right, drivers, we've got stop-and-go traffic westbound 24 through Jolton. It's because of a crash blocking the left lane right there before Whites Creek Pike. President Trump pausing tariffs on everyone but China. That story and more at 1 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Bell, I know there's a story out there that LeBron James is going to be a Ken doll. Who are you arguing with about LeBron James?
Oh, we weren't arguing. It was Jason. Jason and I were talking about it. Because I said, well, what's the over-under on where the Ken doll's made?
China.
Yeah.
China, Taiwan. It's my Taiwanese Ken doll. It's pretty awesome.
And somebody else said that, Michael Jordan didn't need a Ken doll and he's the greatest. I'm like, yeah, but he's got his own shoe.
Yeah. Well, LeBron, everybody's got their own shoe. I got my own shoe.
Air Jordans.
Yeah, well, he's got a brand.
Yeah.
Right? That like Air Jordan, the Jordan brand it's incredible. And the sway he has still with Nike is incredible.
He sold a lot of underwear, too.
He did. Do you remember those commercials, when he was on the plane, the Hanes commercial? Do you remember the time he had the Nazi mustache? Hitler mustache?
No.
Look up Michael Jordan Hitler mustache.
All right.
Are you being serious?
Yes, wow. I'm serious. It was the weirdest thing. I'm like looking at him. Like, first of all, why are you talking to me about underwear on an airplane, dude? That's weird.
That never dawned on anybody at the time.
No. Like, it's always so weird. Like when they talk about, I love commercials. Don't know what to do, so they just have to You
notice you never see a woman on a plane talking to another woman about bras.
No.
Yeah, you know what it looks like to me?
What?
Looks like he was trying to grow a mustache and goatee, but he doesn't have it.
So instead,
he's got a little Hitler mustache. I mean, he's got the little, what is it called whenever it's not a full goatee, but it's just right under your lip?
Just Van Dyke?
Yeah. He's got, you know what he's got? It looks like, it looks like a Hitler mustache. It's a little, Charlie Chaplin.
That's what it does.
Nathan from Busy Bee said, does the LeBron Ken doll flop over if you touch it?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't, man. I tell you what. It's not very nice, LeBron. Tell you what, though. Talk about, what is he, 40-something?
LeBron?
Yeah, 41 or whatever.
He's got to be somewhere around there.
He's still one of the top 5 or 10 players in the NBA.
Oh, dude.
What he does, how he keeps himself in shape is pretty damn amazing. It is pretty incredible. I mean, I don't know if I have that kind of will.
40 years old, boys.
It's funny.
40 years old.
I was watching this couple, my wife and I are driving, and the guys, they're running with the shirt off. He's got a 6-pack, and the girl's got a 6-pack, and I just go, God, that just looks like a lot of work. That looks like that's all you do all day. I can't have a regular job because I have to make sure I still look like this.
Yeah.
That just feels so exhausting. Coming up, more on tariff. It's Tariff-a-palooza, but only China is paying for it right now. We'll talk about that. A bunch of other stuff to get to, including AI. And wait to hear what a golfer did out of frustration. It is spectacular. Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7.
One o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast in 5 minutes. President Trump's pausing tariffs on everyone but China. Here's White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt moments ago.
When you punch at the United States of America, President Trump is going to punch back harder. In that same vein, we have had more than 75 countries from around the world reach out to President Trump and his team here at the White House to negotiate better trade deals for the American worker.
Now, Trump says he's pausing tariffs on other countries because they never retaliated, but China did. Here's Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent.
As I told everyone a week ago, they're in this very spot. Do not retaliate, and you will be rewarded.
Right now in Tennessee, a bill that would allow an open carry permit for shotguns and rifles has gone down in defeat. News Channel 5 says 2 Republicans voted with Democrats to kill it in the Senate Judiciary Committee. Now, the House version of the legislation is still alive, scheduled to be heard in the Judiciary Committee as soon as today, but the defeat in the Senate has likely killed it for this year. 25 new sounds are being added to the National Recording Registry at the Library of Congress. Here's Mike Nabusky.
New entries to the National Recording Registry range from Elton John's 1973 album Goodbye Yellow Brick Road to Celine Dion's Titanic hit My Heart Will Go On. But it's not all music. Chuck Thompson's broadcast of Game 7 of the 1960 World Series, and even Microsoft's Windows 95 startup sound, all now a part of the Library of Congress.
That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
China, no. We're going to double, triple secret probation. That's what we're putting you on right now. So if you guys haven't heard, we're hitting the pause button. A little timeout. With everybody but China. Everybody but China is currently going to be on a timeout situation, and we talked about it earlier. And the reason is this is a battle here of us versus them. It's that simple. This is not a situation where we're trying to even the playing field when it comes to trade. You know what? It's never going to happen. Not the way that people want. Not the way, we're never returning this great manufacturing thing that a lot of that stuff, it sounds great, but the reality is it isn't going to happen the way that people want. It just isn't. This is about global dominance. This is about us versus them. This is the new Cold War that's getting spicy. Let's be honest. It's getting a little spicy. It's getting a little hot under the collar. Do I think that it is going to be like this forever? No. Do I think it's going to cause more than a few ripple effects? I mean, right now, he's raised the tariffs to 125% and then 90-day pause on some tariffs. And when because the EU came out and said, look, we're going to hit you with reciprocal. They don't know what to do. Nobody wants to give up that giant, huge area that has hundreds of millions and a billion plus people when they think we can make some money out there, or to give up their cheap labor. But on the other side of it, you've got to make a decision. The decision is this is the way that we all live here in the West. We live in freedoms. There are certain things that we do that are just different. And you've got to make a decision. If you want to be with us, you're going to have to make that decision. And we're not saying you never can work with China, but what we are saying is you better choose right overall. And, Kevin O'Leary came out, and I keep playing this because he's a guy who does business over there. He's Mr. Wonderful. Great watch collection, by the way. A lot of money. So you can have a lot of nice watches. But he loves watches. And not made in China, by the way. These ones are made in Switzerland. But he's right about the fact that we need to go hard. And Trump can do something here that a president in the first term can't do, which is you're not running for re-election. Despite what Bannon and everybody says, you're not running for re-election. By not running for re-election, that does give you the freedom to do certain things because you're not worried about being re-elected again, where all too often, and it includes our Congress and Senate, they make decisions that are best for the party personally, but for us people aren't always the best because it's about themselves, first and foremost.
104% tariffs on China are not enough. I'm advocating 400%. I do business in China. They don't play by the rules. They've been in the WTO for decades. They have never abided by any of the rules they agreed to when they came in for decades. They cheat, they steal IP. I can't litigate in their courts. They take product, technology, they steal it, they manufacture it and sell it back here. Never has an administration
stand 400% tariffs. What would that look like?
I want Xi on an airplane to Washington to level the playing field.
I think we would all like to see some sort of leveling of the playing field, but it's not even about, even if we leveled the playing field, it's more than just that. The geopolitical ramifications because of military, because of bricks and road, because of bricks. Belt Road and bricks and all of these, because of what they're trying to do. They're trying to get into everybody's good graces. As we were talking about, Ken and I, before the break, it's you take money from them. It's like taking money from the mob. They're not asking for you something now, but they're going to. They're absolutely going to. And it's funny because they play a long game. So a guy I talk to all the time, Gordon Chang, I'll try to get him on hopefully one day this week. He's with all the stuff with China, he's always swamped. And he may be the preeminent expert when it comes to China. And he's for decades have been, basically saying, look, China, this is the real threat to the world long term. But he's always talking about the fact that you don't understand the long game that China plays. China may tell you may go and go, hey, I've applied for a visa. America is going to let me go work there. I'm moving there. You may move there. You think nothing of it. You're there 15, 20 years. You're married. You got a kid. You think life is great. You're as American as anybody, and you get and it's them saying, we need you to do something. And you don't have a choice. You don't have a choice. And it's the same thing when they hand money out globally. It's not because they want to sell, battery material back to us at a cheaper rate. That helps fund their stuff. But it's also because at any given time, they may say, nah, and then we're screwed. So you can hold that over everybody's head. Everybody thought that China was going to get this freedom financially. That was going to be incredible. Because they're the World Trade Organization. They're not doing what the Soviets did, where it's long lines and poverty. They're allowing freedoms like they've never had before. Yes, they're clamping down on your thought. They're clamping down on certain things, but they're allowing you to own homes. They're encouraging these kind of things. They're allowing you. They want you to go to school, make business, become entrepreneurial, make money. Right? They want all those things, and you can be mobile, and you don't have to worry if, you can fly to America and go on vacation. You can come over and go to school. When was the last time you saw a North Korean in school? It's probably been a while. Although I did hear the other day there's a few that have come over and are currently spying. I read an article about that, but it's not like the Chinese. They allowed certain freedoms because capitalism gave them that opportunity. And through their central planning, they still hold a lot of those cards for those people that have come over here because they realized that they would have failed otherwise. They couldn't feed their people if they didn't open up to the world. And everybody thought, well, at some point in time, these people are going to see everything that we have and the opportunities that we have and the freedoms that we have, and they're going to want that and they're going to demand that. But China gave them just enough that people really haven't demanded it. There hasn't been those Tiananmen Square moments anymore. There was a few, right, but they were put down pretty quick. And now, this is, people have had enough. It's not just us, too. This has to be, just like when we talk about what goes on with Israel. It can't just be America and Israel having this conversation. The Middle East needs to get involved. It's the same thing with everybody else. The World Trade Organization and their partners have to get involved and say, no, we can't have this. You can't be stealing our intellectual property. That's IP. You can't be stealing everything. You can't, because if they're not trying to steal it over there, when you go open up your factory, they're trying to steal it here. We've got to do something. It is they've been allowed to get away with so much because many of these organizations, whereas the World Trade Organizations, UN, all of the, there's nothing is ever binding and has any, it's just like getting a strongly worded letter. Like it has no legal bearing. But you know what does speak? Money. And if you start to hurt their money, as we see everywhere, right? Like you look at the colleges, you start to hurt their money, and they're like, oh. When you start to do that, you start to see people change their attitudes. And if stuff started to shrink there, and they've already got super high unemployment among the young, when you start to see these things start to go sideways, and so if you start taking away their money and their freedoms of mobility and, the capitalistic side of stuff, and you give them no freedom of thought, well, that's when things can become really uncomfortable. But you've got to go hard, and this can't just be 2 weeks from now. And with Trump, you never know. But this has to be something bigger than just that. Because otherwise, let's be honest, if Trump just says tomorrow, we're getting rid of all of these things, they've decided they can do it, then you look like a fool.
104% tariffs on China are not enough. I'm advocating 400%. I do business in China. They don't play by the rules. They've been in the WTO for decades. They have never abided by any of the rules they agreed to when they came in for decades. They cheat, they steal IP. I can't litigate in their courts. They take product, technology, they steal it, they manufacture it and sell it back here. Never has an administration...
400% tariffs? What would that look like?
I want Xi on an airplane to Washington to level the playing field.
Never going to happen, though. I keep saying that. Never going to happen. It isn't. 400%. That's what he says. Played it twice. 400%.
It's just not about tariffs anymore. Nobody has taken on China yet, not the Europeans, no administration for decades. As someone who actually does business there, I've had enough. I speak for millions of Americans who have IP that have been stolen by the Chinese. I have nothing against the Chinese people. They brought great literacy, art, and tech to the world. The government cheats and steals, and finally, an administration, you may not like Trump, you may not like his style or his rhetoric, finally, an administration that says enough. 400% tariffs tomorrow morning.
Well, that's not happening. 125, though. That is a possibility that this sticks around for a while. On the other side of it, though, we're getting out of the tariffing our friends in a large way because they're our friends, they're our allies. It's not great business. Tariff's not great business. It isn't. And some of the stuff, and when I talk about tariffs, it can be boring as hell, but we try to make it fun. But it is boring as hell. You know when you care about it? When it affects you in your pocketbook. That's when you care about these things. So many of these other things just glosses over your eyes. Like, I don't really care. But there's bigger things at play here than, the tariff side of stuff, because tariffs it's a tax to the people. And are we willing to pay that? I think in the case of China, I think people are more apt to go, yeah, you know what, with China, I'll do that. I'll do that. Because there's a lot of you out there who are pissed off still about, the bat soup flu. A lot of you out there. And so let's see what this thing does. And I hope Trump sticks to his guns. I mean, you would like to think he's going to. I never thought that the other tariffs were going to last forever. But, this is sending a message. And if you're China today, what do? Do you come out and double hit us back? I think you do. Do you really have a choice?
And don't let some of these politicians go around saying, because I'm telling you, these countries are calling us up, kissing my ass. They are dying to make a deal. Please, sir, make a deal. I'll do anything, sir. And then I'll see some rebel Republican, some guy that wants to grandstand, say, I think that Congress should take over negotiations. Let me tell you, you don't negotiate like I negotiate.
None of you guys negotiate like I negotiate. This is where you bring the dire wolves in. Bring those giant dire wolves in.
I'm going to have one in every room in the White House.
I've got some dire wolf stuff later. And it's interesting listening to the guy, Ben Lamb, I think his name is, who's the heads up Colossal and stuff, talking about how many wacky phone calls he's gotten over the last several weeks about people are like, in faraway countries, Saudis, Middle East money. I've got, $400 billion. I would like to buy a dire wolf. Can you make me a woolly mammoth kind of thing? Ooh, good times, kids. Good times. A lot of stuff to get to. I want to talk about AI because it's very interesting what Shopify is doing. Their CEOs came out and said, all right, we're going to do this. We're going to try this. And I find it, we talk about AI. What can it do? There's a fear out there of AI. I get it for some people. Absolutely understandable. But you need to learn how to embrace it. Because if you don't, you're going to get left behind. You are. Don't be the person who's saying combustible engines are stupid. Somebody come buy my buggy. You guys are going to love my buggy. I'm cutting deals today for buggies. Don't. I just finished watching 1923, and it's at that point in Americana where a lot of people have cars, and there's still people on horses. And you could see the switch coming where some people are still living in kind of this world of, that's moving too fast for me. But no, the world's not waiting for you. And AI is here. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Plus, a golfer that, let's say he's struggling. It's Masters week. This guy's not playing in the Masters, but he's doing something that is interesting. It's the Chad Benson Show, Super Talk, 99.7. With the markets the way they are, how are you protected? I want you to talk to my buddy, Zach Abraham, Chief Investment Officer, Bullwork Capital. Let them help you out in ways that are tremendous. First and foremost, how about getting a second opinion on what's going on in your retirement account? Lower risk, lower cost, lower volatility. Number one thing that Bullwork does. The second thing is active management. They build a plan that's right for you. They actively manage, making sure they look for opportunities to buy and sell when necessary globally. That's the other thing I love about Bullwork. It is amazing. Get your free, and it is free. It's not going to cost you anything. Second opinion. Go to knowyourriskradio.com. That's KNOW, yourriskradio.com, or call 866-779-RISK today. That's 866-779-RISK. Doesn't cost you anything but a little bit of time. They're going to treat you right. Go to knowyourriskradio.com. Investment advisory service offered through Trek Financial LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. Investments involve risk and are not a guarantee. Past performance not guarantee future results. Trek 24173.
Got crashes in the way, drivers. I-40 eastbound after Charlotte Avenue. The right two lanes are blocked there. Then in Jolton, we've got the left lane blocked by a crash. 24 westbound right before Whites Creek Pike. President Trump pausing tariffs on everyone but China, and he's hitting China even harder. Got that coming up at 1:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That is WTN. Hope all is well with you on this gorgeous day. We need to pivot. I need to do something that's not related to tariffs. I thought
Direwolves?
We're going to do those later.
Oh.
I got to be honest with you. I thought this, when I first saw it and read the story, I thought, this is so America. This is so in the South America. But it wasn't in the South America. No, kids. Churchin', wrestling, and Jesus.
What happens when you mix professional wrestling and a church service? You get, you guessed it, wrestling church. It's the brainchild of 37-year-old Gareth Angel Thompson, who says wrestling is a medium well-suited for telling Bible stories.
I was always looking for a way to tell stories in the ring as a professional wrestler. What we do in here is very much good versus evil.
Good versus evil. And when I thought, there's no way, right? Like, come on. This screams of something you'd see in Florida. In Mobile. Check it out. Jesus and wrestling. It's going to be awesome. It's Kane over here. What's going on, Kane? Because we already have a Kane, as we know. We got Abel now. Woo, look at this. You thought, right? Like, this screams. No, it's in the Anglican Church. It is the most boring church on the planet. And there they are in the middle of this old cathedral, just wrestling the hell out of it.
When I became a Christian and I started seeing the wrestling world through a Christian lens, I started seeing David and Goliath. I started seeing Cain and Abel. I started seeing Esau having his heritage stolen from him. And I'm like, we could tell those stories.
The Reverend Natasha Thomas says she initially had some misgivings.
You've no idea how raucous is it going to get, how aggressive is it going to get, are you going to be modelling something that you don't want people to be modelling? There are those sort of questions that maybe go through my mind a little bit, but yeah, it's not proven to be that at all. I find it a real blessing.
I find it a real blessing, I do. It's quite nice when people come here and they want to learn about Jesus and also how to do drop the people's elbow.
Whatever it is. Can't remember last time I watched wrestling. Ray just said, no, that's something you see in crazy-ass Looneyville, California. No, it's not. You might see a drag show at a church in California, but you're not going to see this. I say that, but there's a lot of conservative people in California. I don't think people understand. You get out of L.A. and San Francisco, the central parts of California, uber conservative. Cowboy land. Orange County, pretty damn conservative. Parts of San Diego, pretty conservative. It probably has more conservative people in it than any other state in the country. The problem is there's more lunatic liberals than anywhere, and I do mean lunatics.
Oregon's the same way.
You get outside of
Portland and Eugene. Portland and Eugene, that's left city. But the rest of Oregon?
Well, they're always trying to run away, and join Idaho.
Yeah, that's right.
All the time. We had to vote again, and we want to go to Idaho. Have you talked to Idaho? We've not.
And then Idaho says, we don't want you.
Yeah, because at some point, Portland's going to try to come in and take things over. But it is, so like California's crazy, but it ain't that crazy. But I just found this fascinating. And you know what? Jesus works in mysterious ways. And if there's an opportunity to bring people to certain things, why not? Damn, Skippy.
And while the storytelling may be a little unorthodox, all those body blows are a hit at St. Peter's Anglican Church.
Whatever will touch people's hearts and minds, may that happen in this place, and I think it's absolutely wonderful.
These kinds of programs that help people that are in need of that support of father figures, brilliant, credit to them. I think it's fantastic to see.
And I can almost guarantee you, seeing how busy the church was, because I went to an Anglican church on several occasions, and there was nobody there. It was like marriage, like remember Princess Bride? It's like, hello, Jesus, let's sing a hymn. And then it was that. And this place is packed out with a bunch of people who are screaming and old people screaming and yelling. It's hilarious. Hilarious. 2,700, almost 2,800 jump in the Dow right now because President Trump said, no, we're not going to tariff our pals right now. We're going to put a pause on it. We don't want to hurt you guys. We like you guys. Don't make us do that. He's like a dad, It's like, this is going to hurt me more than it's going to hurt you. And then he's having a rethink. Hey, let's talk about it, right? What made you do that, buddy?
The spanking's not going to hurt me more than you, but me having to watch you cry will.
My dad was a large, violent man. He only ever spanked me once, and it crushed him for a few days. It really did. It crushed him. Like beating somebody to death probably wouldn't have bummed him out the way that did. And he never, ever, that was something that just ate him up. So, and it's, you'd be surprised, but, I feel like Trump's saying that to them. Hey, guys, let's just talk it out here, okay? All right, let's talk it out. China, I don't want anything you go to your room. You go to your room now, okay? Now. You're on restriction forever. Do you hear me? Do you hear me?
No TV for you.
It's okay. We make TVs. Coming up, AI. What can we do with AI? A lot. Should we be scared? No, but let me tell you something. If you think it's not coming for your workplace, you're fooling yourself. Chad Benson Show, Super Talk, 99.7.
$1:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast in 5 minutes. President Trump pausing tariffs on everyone but China. Trump saying no one else retaliated, but China did. They're going to pay. Here's Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent moments ago.
As I told everyone a week ago, they're in this very spot. Do not retaliate, and you will be rewarded. So every country in the world who wants to come and negotiate, we are willing to hear you. We're going to go down to a 10% baseline tariff for them, and China will be raised to 125 due to their insistence on escalation.
Yeah, Trump pausing the 10% tariffs on what the White House says are 75 countries who did not retaliate for 90 days. That's a 90-day pause because they didn't retaliate and they want to negotiate. Here in Tennessee, a bill that would have allowed permit holders carry shotguns and rifles in public, essentially dead for the year. 3 Republicans joined Democrats, voted it down in the Senate Judiciary Committee yesterday, probably for the same reasons top law enforcement officials and others cited during a hearing in the House last month.
It's been a problem in these other states. People carrying around, large rifle, high-capacity style weapons in front of schools, in front of churches, in front of synagogues.
News Channel 5 says the House version of the legislation is still alive, but the defeat in the Senate has likely doomed it for the year. A dramatic rescue of an Illinois firefighter during a house fire caught on camera. Here's Rhiannon Alley.
Newly released body camera video captures the moment. A home in Christopher, Illinois exploded, collapsing the porch roof and trapping firefighter Richard Jackson, already there responding to a fire. First responders and Good Samaritans rushing in to lift debris from the explosion off of him.
All I could see was legs and faces and hands grabbing a hold of me and pulling me out.
Somehow Jackson suffered only minor injuries.
That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
President Trump announcing he'll pause his so-called reciprocal tariffs on most nations for 90 days, but during that time keep in place his 10% baseline tariff on nearly all global imports. The president, however, raised his tariff rate on China to 125%. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent.
President Trump created maximum negotiating leverage for himself.
Bessent said every negotiation will be unique, and the president wants to be personally involved. He wouldn't say how long negotiations would take, saying the administration is starting with 90 days.
90 days. It's a negotiation, 90 days. You know we got dire wolves? Pretty awesome. We got dino. By the time we talk again, we'll have full dinosaurs. Then what are you guys going to do? Called those guys up in Austin. They're building me a dragon. It's a tariff dragon. So since the market crazy, and it's funny, Bell goes, you think a bunch of people who were short the market jumped? I said, now they probably have... They have stops inside of there that would get them out if it starts going in the other direction. And it did, man. It jumped. I mean, we're up to...
when you're looking at the graph that they were showing, it was like all of this action at the very bottom level of the graph, and then suddenly it was like, boom, and it just shoots right up.
It's not about not liking our pals over there in Europe. This is a long play for world dominance. That's what this is. And China now has, I wonder what Xi thinks. And, the troller in chief, I'm just waiting for him to do something stupid. For those of you guys who don't know, Xi has banned Winnie the Pooh from China because people think he looks like Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, it's been a couple of years now since he did that.
I'm waiting for him to say, we're going to send our best negotiator over. His name is Christopher Robbins.
That would be brilliant.
You might be familiar with him. We call him Pooh. So, Scott Bessent earlier today, outside of the White House.
As I said, we've given 90 days, and the only certainty we can provide is that the U.S. is going to negotiate in good faith, and we assume that our allies will too. And in terms of certainty...
You guys hear that? Baby eagles in the background?
Those are the two eagles from...
the two eagles from Lake Tahoe.
Yeah.
We'll see what China does, but what I'm certain of is that what China is doing will affect their economy much more than it will ours, because they have an export-driven, flood the world with cheap export models, and the rest of the world now understands, because when we put up our tariff wall, those exports were already flowing to the rest of the G7 and to the global south.
And you think Mr. Secretary, how much of this decision was driven by the bond market cratering overnight? What is happening with bonds? Is China selling their bonds?
I have nothing that says that, and we actually had quite a good 10-year auction today, and all this was, again, this was driven by the president's strategy. He and I had a long talk on Sunday, and this was his strategy all along, and that, you might even say that he goaded China into a bad position. They responded. They have shown themselves to the world to be the bad actors. And we are willing to cooperate with our allies and with our trading partners who did not retaliate. It wasn't a hard message. Don't retaliate. Things will turn out well.
And we'll find out. Look, even if China didn't retaliate, it wasn't like he was taking these things off. He's there to make a point. And China knows that. By the way, they're big boys. They understand that. They get this. They understand that this is a long game and both sides are going to play this way, and it's going to be this is full contact tariffing, which is the worst kind of tariffing to have. Somebody could sprain an ankle in this. AI is coming for your job, but not really coming for your job, but going to be in your work sooner than you think. And Shopify, which is massive, has said, we're going to do something with AI. And the CEO has put this down, and I think this is brilliant. You want us to do more things? Yeah, well, you're going to have to talk to AI. And if AI says that, yeah, we need more help over here and we need this, then maybe we'll go and do it.
If you work for Shopify, one of the biggest e-commerce platforms in the world, you may not like this answer. The company's CEO is encouraging its employees to weigh their need for workers against the talents of AI.
I'm Alexa. I share this name with lots of amazing people.
From homes to cars to classrooms and now in business, artificial intelligence is being used more and more to advance our lives.
And I say this because even with, the thought of bringing manufacturing back, artificial intelligence is going to be a massive driver in keeping costs down. I mean, are you really going to spend $3,400 for an iPhone? Only if there's $2,500 of cash inside the iPhone are you spending that. Yes, I'll spend $3,400 if my phone bill's free. Forever. We couldn't, we would lose our minds. Well, eventually it'll come down. It'll come down with robots and stuff, but AI is going to change everything. And it's not bad. I tell people, because people freak out about it. It is going to be awesome. And for those of you who say, well, dishwashers, that's what I'm going to be. You always hear that? I got news for you, man. They're building robots to wash dishes 100 miles an hour, and it's going to be cleaner.
If you want to ensure you have a job, you want to be the guy that fixes the robot.
There you go.
And it's finding its place at Shopify, where co-founder and CEO Toby Lutke says using AI is a fundamental expectation for the e-commerce platform's employees. In a memo, Lutke underscores the direction our world is going, noting AI is a tool of all trades today and will only grow in importance. Lutke calling on employees to put AI to the test before expanding departments and hiring new employees. And some tech leaders think his plan is great motivation.
He's asking them to think about AI as the accelerator, using the data that they have available and their big ideas and how that could augment their big ideas, and then he'll give them investment.
I mean, that's incredible. And it's a smart thing to do because AI is going to teach you so many things. I use AI every day. So my uncle and I were building out this algorithm and stuff that works with finding the truth out in stories is a big deal. Right? That to me, and finding data and facts, it saves so much time. And, we joke about the dire wolves somewhat, and we're going to talk about that a little later. You do realize that AI was a massive driver in that. The things it can get done in the matter of hours comparatively to months and even years is incredible. But if you work with it together, and like Bell said, you figure out how to work within it and around it, the sky is the limit.
And Lutke wants employees to use AI to prove they need more resources, writing, teams must demonstrate why they cannot get what they want done using AI.
This is about having quality work for their direct employees and really delighting and serving the customers.
And for anyone who thinks AI is taking jobs,
man is not being replaced by a machine.
Not yet. Eventually it will. By the way, there's so many movies. Do you ever see the movie Megan?
No.
You never saw Megan?
No, but I know what you're talking about. I saw the trailer for the sequel today, yesterday.
Kevin, Ken, have you seen Megan? Ken's got to see. Ken, that's just something he'd see. Every movie I see. Have you seen Megan?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Did you see the trailer for the new one?
No, I have not.
Everything is, by the way, it's hilarious. But she's trapped inside of a little robot. They kept her alive, and they put her in a toy robot, and she's all pissed off.
Yeah, she doesn't like that.
Super sarcastic about, well, look at me. Why am I in a trash can? But AI is taking over everything, and AI robots are everywhere. But every movie I see now is some sort of robot movie. iRobot, there's a new, Robot Eye, a new this robot. There must be 5 or 6 new robot movies where AI is a part of it. It's here. And let me tell you something. One of those movies that's coming out is written by AI, directed by AI, not acted. They've got humans in there, but it's amazing what this thing can do. If you work around it, it's incredible. And yes, fixing them is important.
Experts say in Shopify's case, they want artificial intelligence to help employees think like their customers. It can help anticipate wants, needs, and in this case, shopping patterns, which will in turn help the consumer and likely the company's bottom line. Shopify is not alone in using AI. According to Exploding Topics, in 2024, 40% of all global companies reported using AI in their businesses.
Using AI and technology reinforces your business controls because you know where information is going and you know who's using it and for what. It really saves so much time from your internal employees to really work on high quality projects and think of new ideas.
Think of new ideas. I mean, freeing you up for that stuff. I mean, if you've not even figured out how to use it to write your emails for you, where, you know, they can do that. They can respond for you. They can go through and decide which ones are really relevant, not so you can look later. It's just, and it's not perfect, but from when I came on the air, like starting back last November, filling in to where we are now, it has improved 1,000-fold, and it's only going to get better. It is crazy how good it is. Learn to work with it. It's going to be awesome. It is. And we still want the human. That's the one thing, too. You know, my son was asking me the other day. He's like, Dad, because he wants to do a trade. He's not, the college thing, it's not his jam. You know, he hates going to high school now. I'm like, dude, this is the best time of your life. Well, this sucks if this is the best time of my life. I'm like, I'm lying. It's not the best time of your life. It kind of sucks, right? But it is, he wants to go do a trade school. And I'm super stoked for him. He wants to do, I keep telling him plumbing. You know why? Because everybody poops.
It'll always be there.
It'll always, yeah. AI hasn't figured that out yet.
Fresh water coming out of the spigot.
That's right. AI's not figured out how, right? It's not happened yet.
Mortician's
very good, right? That's a smart thing. Like those things are important. But I said, part of what makes it important is also being able to deal with human beings. It's a lost art, especially amongst the youth who are terrified to even make phone calls. So that's going to be interesting to see, you know, like they're going to be teaching in college in the next few years how to interact with another human being. My name's Jeff.
That will never not be funny.
That will never not be funny. That was in, what was it, 21 Jump Street or whatever?
No, that was a meme that I saw.
Yeah, but it was in a movie.
Oh, it was part, the first half of the meme is from Gladiator.
Yeah. And then
I don't know where the Jeff part came from.
But my name's Jeff. That was not Channing Tatum. It's forgot his name, but it was somebody will hit me up here. Somebody said, tell him HVAC because fat people got to stay cool.
That's not untrue.
Welding. AI is not going to unclog your toilet. That's true. That's why I keep telling that. Just keep telling that. When you're talking about making AI, just think about the robot that wants, well, at some point they're going to freak out. We all know that. But let's run with it while we can before they eat us or whatever they're going to do with us. Coming up, a golfer. It is Masters Week. He's had a bad time, and he's figured out what he needs to do to get through these moments. And it's hilarious. It's the Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7. Rough Greens, ruffgreens.com. Vitamins, minerals, probiotics, omega-3, 6, 9. You guys hear me talk about it all the time. Right now, they got a 90-day challenge. You watch what happens over the 90 days when you start giving this stuff to your dog. It's crazy how amazing it is. We've got 2 little dogs, and they're so healthy. One is 5, the other is 4. Been to the vet outside of getting their shots. They're never sick. They're healthy. They're happy. They're bouncy. Our old dog, Doodle, passed away last year. We thought we had to put him asleep after we had him for about 6 months or a year. We didn't realize how old he was. They lied to us. They were liars. And lo and behold, we started giving him Rough Greens. And it changed his life. He lasted another 6+ years, and he was just healthy and happy. and live well past this sell-by date thanks to Rough Greens. Try a Jumpstart trial bag of Rough Greens today. If you love your animals and you want them healthy and happy, it's 1 scoop a day, and take the 90-day challenge. They're going to get you out a Jumpstart trial bag. It's $20 value free. Go to roughgreens.com, ruffgreens.com. Use my code chat, roughgreens.com, code chat.
All right, Jolton still got the left lane blocked 24 westbound before Whites Creek Pike. Been working that crash now for over an hour. President Trump hits China even harder, pauses tariffs on everyone else. And you got to hear what happened when a deck collapsed under pallbearers carrying a coffin.
Oh
It's
my
coming
God,
up
it's
at 2
so hilarious.
on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, guys, guess what?
My name is Jeff.
It was Channing Tatum. It was in 21 Jump Street when they're in there trying to get the gangsters to do something like, is he ever going to talk? And the guy's like, what's his name? He's like, my name is Jeff.
My name is Jeff.
He says wherever he goes, he could be in all the movies, everything he's ever done. He said he could be walking through an airport and people would go, my name is Jeff. It is Masters Week. I love the Masters. Hello, everybody. Hello, friends. This guy's on the Corn Ferry Tour. So you know the Corn Ferry Tour, that's like AAA. So it's right beneath it. You use the top 25 go up to the PGA Tour. You got to get your card. There's a few ways to get on the PGA Tour, but this is the way that 99% of people do it. This guy, Ryan McCormick's his name. He's had a trying year, to say the least.
Been having not so fun time this year on the golf course. Pretty angry and mad, so I figured I've tried a lot of things, and I just figured I'd shut myself up. So I put tape over my mouth.
He's taped his mouth shut on a pro tour. He's got tape on his mouth over it because he's throwing his stuff. He's cussing. He says it's become unpleasant for everybody, including himself. And, you get a vibe, right? You're out there. And if you've ever watched sports, when things start to go south for one, sometimes it's contagious. And when things go bad, and the last thing you want to be is that guy, especially if you're not funny about it. Like, there's a few guys out there. Hatton is hilarious when he throws his fits and he does funny things. But this guy he's got duct tape on his mouth. It's crazy. Some people will do stuff, and he didn't make the cut last week. And that is such a sport. My son and I were playing last week, and it is such a sport that is so beyond mental. Like, the 9th hole over at Franklin Bridge, it's like an island green. And my son, hit a drive that was amazing. And the whole time he was thinking, I'm going to hit it in the water. I'm going to hit it in the water. I'm going to hit it in the water. I said, dude, you're not going to hit it in the water. You're not. And he nailed it. Put it like 8 feet from the pin. But it was all in his mind that this is it. It's going to be awful. Because you start thinking about it. And this guy said, I'm trying to do everything. But he goes, I was so angry. I was making everybody miserable. And you don't want to be that person. You don't. That's for sure. What do you guys think?
My name is Jeff.
I know. Exactly. My name is Jeff. My name is Jeff. Oh, God. What a great movie that was. If you've not seen it, it's a silly movie. It's called 21 Jump Street.
22.
Oh, was that 22?
It was the sequel.
There was a sequel. They were like 47 years old, still in high school. My name is Jeff.
My name is Jeff.
Oh, goodness me.
We got to keep that, man.
We're going to keep that. Oh, my Lord. That guy needs to sacrifice a chicken like Jobu. Remember that in Major League?
That's right.
Jobu. Oh, my Lord. Hey, we'd like you to be the manager of the Cleveland Indians. He's like, I got a guy on the other line who wants a set of white walls. I'll get back to you. Because that's how bad the Indians were back in the day. Coming up, hour number 3 of the Chad Benson Show. More on Tariff-a-Palooza. We got some dire wolf stuff we'll talk about as well. 'Tis the Chad Benson Show. Super Talk 99.7.
My name is Jeff.
Two o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast in 5 minutes. President Trump's decided to pause tariffs on everyone but China. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt.
The tariff on China will now go up to 125% because China imprudently decided to retaliate against the United States. And as I said at the podium yesterday, when you punch at the United States of America, President Trump is going to punch back harder.
Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent on what happens during this 90-day pause.
We've just been overwhelmed by the response from mostly our allies who want to come and negotiate in good faith. So we are expecting them to come with their best deal. As I said a week ago today, don't retaliate. Hold your ground. Let's see what happens.
Stocks are soaring on the news. The Dow shot up nearly 8%. Here in Tennessee, open carry permit holders would be able to take long guns like rifles and shotguns almost anywhere under a bill that just died in the state Senate after 3 Republicans sided with Democrats to reject it in the Judiciary Committee. Some Republicans in the House were skeptical of the idea during a hearing last month.
I love guns, but there's a place for guns, and it's not walking down Main Street with a AK or whatever it is.
House version of this long gun open carry bill still alive, but defeat in the Senate yesterday is likely doomed it for the year. A family is demanding answers after a grave mishap during a burial. Here's Andrew Dembert.
A family in Pennsylvania outraged after this grave mistake at their loved one's burial. Pallbearers were making their way through the cemetery in Philadelphia. Then the unimaginable. As they put down the casket, the platform around the site collapses, sending the men tumbling into the grave.
It was just a horrible incident that happened in a bad moment.
Family and friends rushed to help the men, some of whom were trapped under the weight of the casket carrying Benjamin Aviles. Aviles was eventually laid to rest, but the family wants an apology and a refund for what they say were subpar conditions at the burial site.
Get a load of this out of Missouri. A foster mom is under investigation after allegedly abusing a teenager, then trading her for an exotic monkey. It's unclear how old the teen is, but court records indicate she's under 17. NBC says the foster mom charged in the case, 70-year-old Brenda Ruth Deutsch, has fostered more than 200 children over the years. 25 new sounds are being added to the National Recording Registry at the Library of Congress. Among them, the startup chime from Microsoft's Windows 95 operating system. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
I love the fact that people are losing their mind about tariffs. Where's Trump? He's in front of the White House with what looks like is a Indy car.
Yeah. He just asked somebody, he said, how fast does that go? 240. He goes 240. I wouldn't get in that if you made me.
I couldn't get in that because, you see,
I'm too big.
I'm a very big person. This is a sport for tiny people.
And it won't fit my dire wolf.
How awesome would that be, flying around on a dire wolf? He's out there just chatting away. It's great. Yeah, China sucks. Do you see how fast these cars go? So fast. We have the Indy 500. Yeah, it's fantastic. It's America's race, It's great. Elon sold me a car. He doesn't have one of these, but he might. Where is Elon? And Elon pops his head out or something. So this is great. So if you guys haven't heard, there's been a pause 90 days on trade, which is cool, but not with China. They're raising it to 125%. I feel like what's going on now with China, it's like Price is Right. Trump's like, what'd they say? They said 124. We'll go 125.
Beat them by a percentage point.
That's right. So this is a Stephen Horsford. It's one of those hearings. He's a congressperson. And he finds out in the middle of his questioning that there's going to be a pause. And he's not thrilled.
Because so many countries have decided not to retaliate, we're going to have about 90 days.
No, excuse me?
Wait, what?
China increased their tariffs on the United States. Trump blinked.
What's the blink, sir?
What do you know about this pause? What are the details of it?
Well, the details, as I understand it, is that China continues to retaliate. Other countries didn't retaliate. The president 2 or 3 days ago said we wanted to negotiate with those countries that asked for meetings. That's what we're doing.
What are the
We've had
details?
discussions.
How long is the pause? How many days? How many weeks?
I understand it's 90 days. I haven't spoken to the president since I've
So
been
the
in this
trade
hearing.
representative hasn't spoken to the president of the United States about a global reordering of trade.
Yes, I have. I've
And
just
yet
been in the
he's-
hearing with you, sir.
But yet he announced it on a tweet. WTF? Who's in charge?
The president of the United States is in charge.
Are you not paying attention? I love in the middle, he's like, wait, what? Yeah, 90 days. Are you not getting this? He did it on a tweet. On a tweet. Yeah, that's right. The pause is on. Every time I see Scott Besson, I just think to myself, he looks like Will Ferrell playing Harry Carey. Have you seen that? Have you ever seen Will Ferrell playing Harry? Hi, everybody. It's me, Harry. He looks just like him. He sounds like him. Like, if you were going to bring Will back, you got him, make him Scott Besson. But this is what I say earlier about these tariffs.
As I said, we've given 90 days, and the only certainty we can provide is that the U.S. is going to negotiate in good faith, and we assume that our allies will too. And in terms of certainty, we will see what China does. But what I'm certain of is that what China is doing will affect their economy much more than it will ours, because they have an export-driven, flood the world with cheap export models, and the rest of the world now understands, because when we put up our tariff wall, those exports were already flowing to the rest of the G7 and to the global south.
And Mr. Secretary, how much of this decision was driven by the bond market cratering overnight? What is happening with bonds? Is China selling their bonds?
I have nothing that says that, and we actually had quite a good 10-year auction today, and all this was driven by the president's strategy. He and I had a long talk on Sunday, and this was his strategy all along, and that you might even say that he goaded China into a bad position. They responded. They have shown themselves to the world to be the bad actors, and we are willing to cooperate with our allies and with our trading partners who did not retaliate. It wasn't a hard message. Don't retaliate. Things will turn out well.
And there you go. I mean, that's pretty simple. I played the whole thing because I thought, let's hear what he had to say. This is more than just about trade and cheap goods and stuff like that. We're going to always, because of the size of us, the power of us, there has never been a nation as powerful and as wealthy as ours. Never. Just hasn't happened. Our poor are in better positions than a lot of people around the globe who live well-to-do in their countries. The state with the lowest per capita has a higher per capita income than like England, the UK. I mean, this is where we are. So we're always going to import more because we're exporting services which make more money, which has made us extremely wealthy as a nation. Banking, insurance, IT, software, those things, the ideas we export, we make a lot. We import cheap goods because at some point it's not worth it to make some of these things here. It's just not. So we're always going to have some sort of trade imbalance. We never talk about the trade imbalance on the other direction, where we have huge surpluses in the amount of service debt that's owed to us. So there's a balancing act in a lot of ways, but because of our spending power, yeah, I mean, we're always going to have a bit of an imbalance, especially if we want something, because we can afford it. We can. Others can't. Now, how long? The question, how long is this going to last?
One piece of caution here, based on what I'm being told, is that, look, it's not over yet. You still have this escalating trade war between the U.S. and China. That's going to have a massive ripple effect. And so what does that mean? We don't know, but still some at least temporary good news when it comes to investors.
And why the investor side of things doesn't matter is we as a nation, while you're not taking your 401k today, or you're not going to do a lot of that stuff. And, the average person, I don't have any money in the stock market. Do you have 401k? Yeah, well, you have money in the stock market. Why it matters, though, from your work side, especially if you work for a larger corporation, is through investments is how they grow their company. And that's part of why this is a big deal through the tariffs and the whatnot. Just not the stock market, but a lot of that other trickle-down side of stuff that comes with it. And so that's why it matters. Not immediately, but it's definitely a portion of what's going on here. And so we're going to find out, I mean, we knew that nobody, especially the Europeans, were trying to figure out, like, what's going on?
What's interesting with the 90-day is that's what basically people have been calling on the president to ask for. This morning, we heard from Bill Ackman, who's a billionaire, who's a longtime supporter of Donald Trump's, who came out publicly warning about the effects of these tariffs. He put out in a statement on X earlier in the day calling for specifically a 90-day pause. We also saw Jamie Dimon with JP Morgan, who had been talking about the increased likelihood of a recession.
And we're always going to have a recession here or there because, as I don't know if you guys are aware of this, it's a cyclical thing, somewhat. There's just times when we have ebbs and flows in the market. Sometimes things slow down, reconfiguring stuff's overbought, stuff gets sold off. We will have those. I am I'm 48 years old, as far as you guys know, and Bell's 32. And we are, how old do you think you can get away with, by the way, Bell?
I mean, early 40s. At least for a few more years.
What about you, Ken? What do you think you can get away with?
Me?
Yeah.
I think I'm stuck in the 50s.
No, you're mid-40s.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you get that. You can say like I could say I pull off 48. I think I can do that. 46. So as far as you guys know, 46. But in my 46 years on this planet, I have lived through a lot of recessions. Some I was a kid, I had no idea. Personally, because I was so poor, we didn't know. When you're poor, that's a good thing about, in some ways, a recession. You don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's just, we were poor yesterday, we're poor today.
It's like when it's 100 degrees one day and 101 the next.
You don't feel that. You don't. So this is, again, these are all things subject to change, as we know with Trump, and that's a big deal because he will change things. We're going to have recessions. We're going to have ebbs and flows. We're going to have ups and downs. That's just the nature of what goes on. So am I worried about a recession? No, because I don't think the recessions are going to be as long as they have been in the past, partially because of the global world we live in. We're not just dependent upon ourselves, and a lot of people need our stuff. So these things are all interesting, but this is not about the China of like, oh, well, we really do want cheap goods. We want you to be fair. It's much bigger than that. We can pretend that it's this or that. It's the fact that they don't do what they say they're going to do. They lie. They lied to the WTO. They lied to everybody. And a lot of people just went, it's okay. We'll let it go. No. This is the chance to take it on head on. And I've been playing this all day. And this is Kevin O'Leary, who is Mr. Wonderful on Shark Tank. I think that's what it is. A lot of other stuff. Talking about his business in China and why he thinks this is it.
104% tariffs in China are not enough. I'm advocating 400%. I do business in China. They don't play by the rules. They've been in the WTO for decades. They have never abided by any of the rules they agreed to when they came in for decades. They cheat, they steal IP. I can't litigate in their courts. They take product, technology, they steal it, they manufacture it and sell it back here. Never has an administration.
400% tariffs? What would that look like?
I want Xi on an airplane to Washington to level the playing field.
Never going to happen. Never. Because Xi also knows that he's in this thing and his people are looking at him to stay strong. Europe is because remember, with China and with us, it's 1-to-1. Like, our moves will have an impact on other countries, but it's 1-to-1. Europe has got like 50 states going, well, hold on a second. What? What are you guys doing? Should we be a part of that? But we like them. We don't dislike them. So they're all trying to get different cultures and people together to go, all right, we're going to be unified. They didn't want any part of this. They didn't. But you're never getting Xi on a plane to come over here because he has to look strong for his people.
It's just not about tariffs anymore. Nobody has taken on China yet, not the Europeans, no administration for decades. As someone who actually does business there, I've had enough. I speak for millions of Americans who have IP that have been stolen by the Chinese. I have nothing against the Chinese people. They brought great literacy, art, and tech to the world. The government cheats and steals, and finally, an administration, you may not like Trump, you may not like his style or his rhetoric, finally, an administration that says enough. 400% tariffs tomorrow morning.
I don't know why you're laughing, Bell. They did bring Kung Fu to the world.
It's not what you said, it's when you said it and how you said it.
Well, he was talking about literacy and all that stuff, but I just said Kung Fu. I mean, no offense, but they've done some great artwork. They've done a lot of cool stuff over there in China, but man, Kung Fu that's had a big impact on my life. I studied Kung Fu when I was little. Thought I was going to be a bigger player in my life. I thought I was going to go farther in Kung Fu than I did. Oh, goodness me. 400%, probably a bit much, but Trump is going to ride this thing, and this is about geopolitical. This is about who's with us, who's against us. Are you guys going to go be part of BRICS? Well, then hit the BRICS. If you're going to be part of what we do, then fantastic. The thing about BRICS, and everybody's always worried about BRICS or this, that, and the other, why people choose us is because of the stability, not worrying about the chaos. As chaos as we think it is, the rest of the globe is so insane at times. You don't even, I mean, how many prime ministers has England had in the last year and a half, right? And they're supposed to be kind of stable. So we're stable, even though at times we seem a little unstable. That's okay. There's Trump. I'm going to go back and look at the car. It's pretty awesome. Fantastic. He's got the, that's not a Formula One. That's an Indy car.
Yeah, he's got NASCAR, Indy, and IMSA.
NASCAR. Let's go look at the NASCAR. It's very American. The Chinese don't do NASCAR or have dire wolves. Coming up, talk a little dire wolf, because I think the whole thing is interesting yesterday. How they did it, how they broke it down is very interesting. With some more on trade stuff. So got some immigration news as well. It is Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7. Bullwork Capital, for all the chaos, the craziness, the lunacy that's going on out there in the market, Bullwork is the place you need to go. How about getting a second opinion with my friends over there? My buddy, Zach Abrams, Chief Investment Officer. Sky is the man. We're going to talk to them about what they can do for you and how they can help you, especially if you're into investments. You got your IRA, you got your 401k, maybe you're retired, but maybe you're just getting yourself rolling and rocking and you're looking for somewhere that's going to give you something better than just here. it's cookie cutter. You don't want that. Get a second opinion with Bullwork. Lower risk, lower cost, lower volatility. That's what Bullwork is all about, and that's why I love working with them. Call 866-779-RISK today, 866-779-RISK, or go to knowyourriskradio.com, KNOW, yourriskradio.com for Bullwork Capital. Investment advisory service offered through Trick Financial LLC, and SEC registered investment advisor. Investment involved risk, not a guarantee of past performance, not guarantee future results. Trick 24173.
President Trump hammering China, but rewarding everyone else for good behavior in the tariff war. This story and more at 2:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Some of the most globally recognized soccer teams are going to lace up for the FIFA Club World Cup this summer. Nashville's one of those host cities.
Geodis Park is one of the 12 venues for that tournament. Our Lauren Walsh was there this morning to learn more about the event. Lauren.
Yeah, well, this is the latest large-scale sporting event coming to Music City. Add it to the list, right? This is huge for the soccer scene. The FIFA Club World Cup is a 32-team tournament featuring some of the biggest clubs in international football. And that's what brought FIFA President Gianni Infantino to Nashville and Geodis Park today. He spoke glowingly about the growing participation and passion for soccer in the U.S. And that's evident here in Nashville, too. Geodis Park will host 3 matches for this summer's FIFA Club World Cup. And Infantino already sees what a great fit the stadium and city are for this tournament.
Nashville is a city that is known all over the world for the music, of course, for the sport as well, for soccer also. And this is something I was not really aware of, I have to say, before. Then I came here, I visited the facilities, state of the art. I mean, you can only win with these facilities. Great crowd, great fans. It has really everything that fans want.
Yeah, and get this, Infantino announced FIFA is donating $1 million to the city of Nashville to grow the game of soccer right here in Music City. And you can keep an eye out for those FIFA Club World Cup matches at Geodis in late June.
Oh, I'm going. I'm absolutely going.
I wonder if that money will actually be spent on growing the game of soccer.
I was credibly told on the text line yesterday that nobody cares about soccer.
Nobody does, except for the world.
And the people that paid to have a stadium built in Nashville for it.
Yeah. I do wonder that. I was thinking that when I saw that thing today. Like, how much of that million? Like, what do you have to do to get a portion of that $1 million for your little club soccer team? What hoop do you have to run it? What DEI statement do you have to write? Or whatever wackadoo thing. You know, it's not like somebody's walking out with some cash and just going like Mr. Beast, just like to an AYSO soccer game and just handing out cash. Hope your team wins.
So she said 3 games.
Yeah, we're going to get 3 games. This is the first time ever. It's a Club World Cup. So we have the World Cup, which we're hosting next year. But this is the Club World Cup. So this is like the Real Madrids of the world and all the big ones.
What's the difference between
countries? So like the World Cup will be, it's like the Olympics, USA versus, like Belgium.
Right.
Where this is Real Madrid, Spain versus Man City of England. And those teams will have players on it from all over the world.
Well, how do you end up being the team that represents your country in the World Cup?
You get picked by, you're so good, and they're like, we're going to pull you onto the World Cup.
So it's
team.
actually based on performance?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it is. And so, and in some ways, there's still politics involved in anything, but, I'm always amazed at, and I haven't been to what's funny? I was talking to somebody about this last night, and our good buddies over at Contours, Dan's reps Contours, and I go there and they're shrinking my belly. And I was talking to him, I stopped playing when I was like 24 because my knees just couldn't do it anymore. And it's not like today. Today it's crazy what they can do, But when I finished, I was playing in the USL, which is at the time the highest level of soccer we had in this country. Our home game was a high school. Like we got dressed like, if we were lucky, the high school, one time they didn't open the locker room. So we had to go around the corner and get dressed. I mean, like that's where we were in soccer back in my day.
That's just pure disrespect.
It was. There wasn't anything. We'd get good crowds, but there was not. Now they've got stadiums, they got all that stuff. But I was telling them, I've never been to a Major League Soccer game. I had so many friends that went on and played Major League Soccer, some of them great careers, national team. Once I was done, I was like, I'm done for a while. And, so I've never been. And it wasn't that I missed anything, but I will go watch this. And I can't wait the park looks amazing. So we're going to have some of the best teams in the world. I hope we get some good teams. I don't want some crappy teams that nobody cares about.
What are the crappy teams?
You're going to get some I don't want some Olympiacos of Greece. I don't want to see them.
The last, I don't follow soccer very well, but is it Messier?
Messier was the hockey player.
Oh, okay. So who's the not the guy who has 700 million followers on Twitter, but who was the other player that was like world class?
Messi and Ronaldo are the two best.
Okay, then it was probably Messi that I'm thinking of. They actually played a game here.
Yeah, well, he plays for Miami in the MLS.
Huge ass big deal that he was here in town.
Yeah, he plays for Miami. And it's going gangbusters. And to show you the growth, that David Beckham, one of the things when he signed over here, he said, all right, here's the deal. I'm going to sign and, take a bit of a pay cut. He still made stupid money. He goes, but he was smart. And he said, but I get to buy a team basically at cost because he saw where this was going. Well, that team's worth $1 billion now. And it was crazy. And Messi, that's one of Messi's thing is he gets to buy a team for virtually nothing.
So long term, he didn't actually take a pay cut.
No, but he did. He took a gamble that the league would still be rocking and rolling. David did. Oh, it was me, David Beckham. You're like, man, you look cool. Hello, everyone. Oh, okay. Well, there you go then. Like everybody, you ever met a girl's? And she's like, oh, she's smoking on. She's like, hey, everybody. You're like, oh, God. My buddy Travis, he dated this girl. She was stunning as you talk like this.
Did she have man hands?
She didn't. But, man, I just, like the first time we met her, she talked like that. I'm like, oh, my God, just that loud. Coming up, who knows what we'll talk about? I bet it's fun. Let's talk dire wolves. Some of you pushed back on the dire wolves yesterday. We have a scientist who's not part of it, talking a bit about it, as well as the people who put this thing together. It's very interesting. Chad Benson Show, Super 99.7.
2:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast in 5 minutes. President Trump pausing tariffs on everyone but China. Moments ago, during an event he's hosting for the racing champions from NASCAR, Indy, and IMSA, he was asked by reporters, why the pause?
Well, I thought that people were jumping a little bit out of line. They were getting yippy, you know? They were getting a little bit yippy, a little bit afraid, unlike these champions, because we have a big job to do. No other president would have done what I did. No other president. I know the presidents. They wouldn't have done it.
Yeah, so the 90-day pause does not apply to China. Trump is actually raising the U.S. tariff on Chinese goods to 125%. U.S. and Russian officials meeting tomorrow in Istanbul. Russia's newly appointed ambassador to the U.S., Alexander Darchev, says he will discuss what he calls the toxic legacy of the previous administrations, adding that the relationship between President Trump and Russian President Putin is already making it easier to get things done. And here in Tennessee, a bill to allow open carry permits for long guns like shotguns and rifles is essentially dead for the year. 3 Republicans sided with Democrats to vote it down in the Senate Judiciary Committee yesterday. And another record for LeBron James. The basketball great has now become the first professional athlete who is male to have his likeness depicted in a Ken doll. Here's Sherry Preston.
When he became the first NBA player to surpass 50,000 points, LeBron James said it was something he thought about growing up.
I was hoping that someday I'd be able to play at the highest level, and I've been able to do that and really enjoy it.
Did he ever think he'd be a Ken doll, wearing sunglasses, headphones, and a blue and white jacket adorned with LJ on the front? Oh, no, but he does say he was lucky to have role models growing up who showed him what's possible through hard work and dedication. The LeBron James Ken doll goes on sale Monday.
That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Retirement Ready Toolkit from our friends over at Beacon Capital Management. You know, retirement's not just about the portfolio, what's going on in there. Many of you know when you get there, there's a lot of stuff that happens. Beacon is completely unique compared to everybody else. And one of the things they help you do, amongst the many, is not just about, again, your retirement and being ready for that and your money, but also tax planning, estate planning, even health care. And you've got an option, right, to work with them in many different ways, but having this aspect of all of these things right at your fingertips with Beacon is incredible. Get the Retirement Ready Toolkit. Doesn't cost anything. You can get a Money Enough for Life book, retirement planning checklist, and a Maximizing Retirement Income white paper, all at no cost, no obligation, and no pressure in the local right here. Call 615-488-9303. That's 615-488-9303 or online at askbeaconnow.com. My pillow right now, something not made in China. How about these amazing bed sheets? It's spring, and it's time to sprung into these amazing things, like the Giza Dream Sheets from My Pillow. First of all, 10-year warranty, 6-day money-back guarantee, 100% Giza cotton, ultra-soft, breathable, luxurious satin weave. And I will tell you, it's like sleeping on $1 million. It's incredible. I love these. Normally $139.98. Now yours, $69.99. That's for the queen. King, $79.99. My favorite right now, especially because as it gets warmer, I'm a hot sleeper, the Percal bed sheets. Crisp, cool, perfect. It's so breathable. You're going to sleep 1,000 times better. That's why I love these things. They got deep pocket designs. They're incredible. And, you know, have you ever gone and you got sheets and you wash them once? And like, they don't fit on the bed anymore. You never have to worry about that anymore. These things are great. Queen size, normally $89.98. Now only $29.98. King size, just $34.98. Both amazing, incredible. And right now, My Pillow has the deals. But hurry up. Only going to last for as long as they have them. It's your chance to take advantage of these cheap, amazing deals from incredible stuff from My Pillow. Go to mypillow.com/Benson. Promo code Benson. mypillow.com/Benson.
You made a dire wolf.
Joe Rogan had on the guy, Ben Lamb, who is he runs Colossal. I think he's this billionaire, but he put this thing together, and it is very interesting. And a lot of you chimed in, it's not a dire wolf, it's something like this, it's something like that. It's interesting what it is. Is it a perfect dire wolf? No, it's not going to be because they're gone. But can you make a replica to the point where it is as real as it's going to get? That even in a situation where if you were to hold them up one-to-one as far as looking at their DNA and their structure, they would be indistinguishable? Well, this lady's a scientist. She's pretty smart. She got the smarts in the brain. She thinks so.
So we're just doing Jurassic Park now.
We are, actually.
Let's talk about it. A biotech company has just claimed to have de-extincted the direwolf using DNA editing technology. But did they actually? In order to truly bring an animal back from extinction, you need to use ancient DNA samples in order to reconstruct their entire genome, which is just a fancy word for all the DNA inside each of their cells. Then take an egg cell from a closely related living animal, remove its DNA, replace it with the reconstructed DNA from the extinct animal, and then implant it into a viable host womb. The animal born as a result should be genetically indistinguishable from a member of an extinct species, i.e. a perfect clone. The problem is that 10,000-year-old DNA is very difficult to work with. Most of the time, it's basically crumbs. So what these scientists did instead was take fresh DNA from living modern-day wolves, use the DNA editing technology CRISPR-Cas9 to tweak around 14 of their genes in order to give them physical traits that dire wolves would have had. They figured out which genes they needed to tweak by comparing that 10,000-year-old dire wolf DNA with the DNA of modern-day wolves to figure out what genetically the dire wolves had that modern-day wolves didn't. So in theory, if you compared 10,000-year-old dire wolf DNA to the DNA of these puppies that were just born, they should be genetically indistinguishable.
Which is actually pretty spot on. And that's what they talk about. That's why we're making dinosaurs. Now, the interesting thing, so this guy who is the dude who runs everything, he's very interesting as the way he talks about this, because getting what she said, getting any of the DNA was extremely tough because of where all this stuff is.
We thought if we could do something that could bring back the dire wolf, also help wolf conservation and bring people from like sci-fi, fantasy, and kids more into science and into the conversation around conservation, we thought it was a cool idea, but we had no idea if we could pull it off.
And it's not cheap, by the way.
Is there dead dire wolves that were trapped in permafrost, or is
No, most of the dire wolf skulls out there, there's thousands of them in La Brea tar pit. So if you go there, they have this beautiful wall, but because of heat and acidification, there isn't anything that's protected. Like there's nothing you can get from that. But about 6 years ago, a group, including Beth Shapiro, our chief science officer, sequenced a tooth that was found in a cave, just a single tooth, right? And in that tooth, they actually found they actually got 0.15x or coverage of the genome, so they got about 15% of the genome. But that's not really enough. You need to get up to about 10x, meaning that you can read the entire genome about 10 different times, so that even if there are gaps, you understand enough of the core kind of coding regions that you could bring back that animal.
And those things are hard because you have a tooth. Once you start playing with the tooth, it's tiny and there's only a little bit in it. It starts to break. And once you start playing with this stuff, you get to play with it once kind of thing.
So you have this tooth. You have 1.5.
Yeah, 0.5, so 15% of the genome.
Okay.
And so I went to Beth, who was only an advisor at the time, and said, could you resample the tooth? And she's like, it's like, half an inch long. She's like, it's destructive sampling. Like, it's going to ruin it. I was like, well, could we scour the other museums and see if it's even possible? So we lucked out, and that tooth's 13,000 years old. The skull itself is 73,000 years old. Not exactly sure. But it was found in a riverbed. And it wasn't found in a riverbed at the mouth of a cave. So it wasn't found like in the permafrost, but it also wasn't found in like heat and acidification. So there's a bone in all of us called the petrous bone, which is insanely dense, and it doesn't change a lot from after you're born. It's a great DNA storage, better than teeth, better than anything. It's like in the inner ear kind of head area.
That's kind of a trip, right? So we all have that. Go on, everybody feel for yours. Find out if you find your petrous bone. Don't use that word too loosely.
We got permission from the museum to very carefully drill into the underside of the skull and remove the petrous bone to see if we could get DNA. And we got really lucky. Between resampling the first and the skull, we ended up getting about 13 to 14x coverage. So that's more than we needed to potentially bring back the dire wolves.
So away they went, and that's how they created this thing. And, he said, look, we got a lot of flack for it, but something like this, it's a start of something. Because, yes, should you or shouldn't you, that's a big debate. Their big thing is, some stuff, it had its chance and it failed. Other stuff, we were like was it the thylacine, the Tasmanian tiger? We killed that thing off. Because the likes of the Australia at the time basically go out and hunt them, kill them all. So if we have a chance to set something straight, right or wrong, okay. Now, woolly mammoth, that's going to be interesting. I think that sometimes you do stuff because you're like, we could put enough money in the bank so we never have to worry about this. Somebody just texted in and said, I hope our tax dollars didn't pay for this nonsense. Maybe some did. A lot of celebrities, like Tiger Woods and a bunch of people, I guess, invested in this. Why our tax dollars would be important because it's not only about de-extinction, but using the CRISPR stuff and using it the way that they are, the opportunity to do other things in the future, not just about this. Imagine if you could regrow your own, like if you've got issues with your kidney and they could use all this stuff, which is what's going to happen. At some point in time, we're going to be able to do all of these things because of this new technology and because of AI. And it's going to be awesome. I can't wait. It's going to be a little scary, I admit. And the dire wolf is interesting to see. And yeah, there's some ethical questions, but there's always ethical questions when you're trying to bring back monsters. Should we bring him back? You know what? Frankenstein, they brought him back. He was, the monster. Dr. Frankenstein brought back his monster. Should he? Because people realize that Frankenstein's not Frankenstein. The doctor was Frankenstein. The monster. I forgot. I think, what was the monster's name?
My name is Jeff.
That's what his name was. What's your name?
That's an actual recording of him saying that.
Oh, my goodness me. No, I'm sure the CIA put money in. What did I read the other day? The CIA has an investment fund. They have like some sort of investment. Of course they do. Yeah, you want all that stuff. So, but this stuff is unique because of what it brings. Somebody said, well, imagine, could we cure cancer? Yeah, you want to know why we're going to be able to cure cancer? Or cancer, we're going to get to the point where, a lot of this is going to be, when we get to it in time, it's going to be very negligible because AI can work 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, and can work across multiple avenues that we can't even comprehend. Where if you're a scientist and you're a scientist and you're a scientist, you're working your 10, 12-hour day, you go home, you have your life, your vacation. There's only so much. And being able to work with this, it's going to be huge. Huge, huge. Chad, nice to Jeff when people around. Nice to Jeff when people around. Wait, what?
My name is Jeff.
I understand your name is Jeff. I like that. Where can I get me one of those big pups? That's one of the things he talked about, is the crazy calls we get. And they're not saying where this location is, but it's somewhere in the Northeast because they wanted to be somewhere where it was cold, tundra-like, where they have an area to run. And they asked him, do they hunt yet? He goes, they're eating like buffalo, like, wild buffalo that they've caught. And they've, but he says they've got the instinct, but they're going to introduce them in the next week or two to carcasses. And then we're going to sick them on China. Frankenstein's name was Herman Munster. Really, Nick? Where are we going to put all these animals? It's not. They're not going to do a lot more. He already said they're going to do another 3 or 4 of these, and that's it. And I don't think they're going to allow them to reproduce. So they're not doing a lot of these. I don't know about the woolly mammoth. But when it comes back, would I like to see them bring back the Tasmanian tiger and release it? I think that'd be cool. I think that'd be sweet.
I'd love to see a live dodo.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Live dodo. That would be awesome. Speaking of dodos, I mean, come on, guys.
My name is Jeff.
If you guys haven't heard, President Trump kind of sort of pulled back the tariffs for the most part on everybody but China. And the Chinese now are being tariffed at 125%, which will probably go up because they feel like, hey, you know what? You guys are doing what you do. Knock yourself out. This is something we're in to win. Somebody said, you guys will never admit that Trump won. I'm like, what did he win? Did he win anything today? Oh, was he racing the cars?
I guess, because I thought the election was over that he won.
Yeah,
so
yeah, of course he won. But he didn't win.
Pretty sure he won the election, but that was the last thing I recall him
Yeah,
winning.
he hasn't won anything, yes. Somebody said, I want to eat a dodo. See, why is it always got to go to the eating of the dodo?
Because we're curious if it tastes like chicken.
It tastes like unicorn.
It tastes like unicorn.
That's always the problem. That's why we don't have any unicorns anymore. We couldn't keep we just consume. That's all we do.
Unicorn is 100% ribeye.
All sourced in the United States. Go to omahaunicorn.com. Use my code chat. But tariffs, they have been paused. They haven't been reversed or stopped. America and Europe and a few other places around the globe, not just there, who are our big trading partners, were pausing. China, not so much. And I don't think it's going to happen soon, although he says he wants to get a deal done with China. I don't know what that deal looks like. Because do you trust them? No. That's why we're in the situation we're in. Nobody trusts them. Nobody does. Do you think India trusts them? No. Do you think the World Trade Organization knows they can't trust them, even though they've allowed them in? So we shall see. Playing God is dangerous. Yeah, that's true. What do you mean Trump hasn't won any? All these countries conceding on their tariffs like he set out to do. But here's the thing. Those tariffs, we're not getting anything. A vast majority of the stuff that he talked about, like Japan and Korea, it's a perfect example of we've got a huge, trade deficit when it comes to cars. Yeah, but there's no tariffs on our cars. The reality is they don't buy our cars because they're big. They're made for America and a few other places. They're not made for there. And the ones like Ford has virtually no presence on the ground in places like Japan and Korea. They just don't. And same thing with Britain. Britain has like Ford. You can go buy a Ford, but you're getting a Fiesta. I had a Fiesta. It was little. Why? Because the roads are so tiny. But this is about China, and this is bigger than tariffs and trade deficits. There's a lot more than that. And we'll see what it looks like. Coming up, we're going to wrap it up. I think Matt's here. I saw him wandering around, looking dazzling and stuff. We're going to wrap it up straight ahead.
My name is Jeff.
Super Talk 99.7. Oh, my God, kids. Hey, everybody. How's it going, everybody? Hey, everybody. Did you hear we had a trade war? It lasted all of 24 hours. Now it's kind of over, sort of.
I hear the Dow's up.
Yeah, it was up 55 billion points. It was up 2,700 to 1. I don't know what it finished at.
I mean, do you feel like our man's like, hey, watch this, guys. Look, boop,
yeah.
$1 trillion.
I think there's times he goes, watch me move the markets.
Boop, $1 trillion back.
I think there's times he thinks that. So, which is understandable. Like, if you have the chance to do that.
We just finished one of our podcasts, and we were in there for about an hour, and I come out after an hour, and I'm like, and somebody said, oh, man, the Dow has moved 2,800 points, and I have to ask up or down.
Yeah. At this moment in time, totally.
I don't know.
No.
Absolutely
don't know. He's paused 90 days for most of the world outside of China. He raised it to 125% on China.
So here's the deal. China, I mean, do you feel like all of this is about China?
It's all about China.
That's what I feel.
The whole thing
is all about China.
Everybody, you got to choose a side now.
Right.
They've lied to everybody. They got in the World Trade Organization. They have taken our money and they have built up an empire.
They've taken our intellectual property.
They steal like there's no tomorrow.
They're not playing fair with the rest of the world, and it's time that the rest of the world decided that they're going to do something about it.
Mm-hmm. But on the other side of it, China's, we go out and we're like, hey, don't hang gays from poles. Here's $1 billion. And China goes, here's $20 million. Have fun with it. We don't care what you do. But they're going to call it in. So there's some nations that are probably worried about that. But this has always been about China. I mean,
Yeah, we act like, I heard your comparison, and I thought when I was driving in that it was pretty good, that China is the mob. And I would add to that, we're like the police.
Yeah.
We come in and we say, hey, we're gonna make sure the streets are clean, and we're going to do this and that and the other thing. And here's the expectation. You pay your taxes.
Yeah.
And China's like the mob. It's like, you want protection? You don't have to do anything right now.
Yeah.
It's all good. Yeah, you're fine.
You're not even asking. We don't even hear what you hear. Here's a bunch of money.
One of these days, maybe you can do something for us.
Yeah, Belt and Road. And that's what the Belt and Road is. They give it, we tell them, hey, you guys can't hurt women anymore in this country, and here's $50 million. And they're like, great, that's great. They never do any of that stuff. They take our money, and they're like, well, what did they do? They go, here's $50 million. Build a road. Here's a school. Here's all this stuff.
Some are suggesting that, if a trade war with China would be mutually assured economic destruction. And I think that it would hurt. It would hurt the world economy. But I think China gets hurt worse than that.
Oh,
right?
way, way worse. The reason is which nobody talks about, we're a service-based trade country. Everybody owes us money when it comes to services. And that matters a lot because that's how we've made our wealth. We've exported ideas, but there's a service ideas. Everything from insurance to financial to, a lot of the AI stuff, the stuff you see when it comes to software. These countries owe us billions, including China. They're goods-based. They're not going to intellectually come up with great things. They're worker bees and that kind of stuff. They're not the brilliant types because they haven't had that freedom.
Right.
We push for that stuff. We're talking about the dire wolf. Why is that important? Because of CRISPR, because of all that cool stuff we're creating that gives us a huge advantage.
Do you think they want to do packs of dire wolves out in the wild?
He said they're probably going to do about 8 of them, maybe.
What, just 8?
Yeah. And then see what they do, to see what they do. But
they're going to eat the human beings is what they're going to do.
No, probably not. But they're going to do
we went through this on the show yesterday, Chad, and I know you talked about it. You seem pro-dire wolf. That's fine.
I'm absolutely pro-dire wolf.
I don't know that I'm pro-dire wolf. I think maybe I'm Jurassic Park on this because, you know why dire wolves went extinct?
That's exactly why.
They went extinct because they lost their food source.
Climate change.
So what their food source consisted of was large mammals.
Yeah.
Can you think of any large mammalian population that's slow and blubbery and delicious?
Are you talking about us?
That's all I'm saying. Of course, we got guns, so it's a fair fight.
Yeah, and they're going to be caged in. Now, the woolly mammoth is going to be interesting.
I don't think it's a good idea.
Well, I just don't think
it's a good idea.
Look,
maybe folks ought to go with 2 Diet Cokes with their hamburger.
Maybe. Hey, let me tell you guys something, too, all right? With AI and the robots, and I've seen Megan, and Megan 2's coming out, We better befriend some robots. But you know what else we might do? We might want to create some dinosaurs that are beholden to us just in case they pop off and we have to unleash the
So
beast.
befriend the dinosaurs before the robots befriended the dinosaurs.
Yeah, or
That's
before the
not a bad
robots, if the
idea.
robots lose their
See,
mind.
That's the type of forward thinking that I'm looking for from the Chad Benson Show.
That's what we do here. You guys have a blessed day. Coming up next, Matt Murphy, the man, the myth, the legend, and his sweet jacket. Nice.
Little seersucker, baby.
I like it.
Yeah.
Straight ahead, Chad Benson Show.